It's cool.
Okay, welcome back to our work meeting. We have two items left. We have 2.5 and 2.6. We'll go to 2.5, discussion of a proposed city council policy and fee schedule for the Herriman Community Center.
John, will you pull up the policy first, and I'll just have you follow along and scroll, if you don't mind. As you all are aware, we have big ribbon cutting. We've opened the Herriman Community Center for some programs and activities. We haven't opened it up for rentals yet. Friends of Herriman has started scheduling. You'll notice it's much quieter here tonight because the orchestra's not downstairs practicing. They're actually over at the new building, or the old new building, practicing there, and they're very happy for that space and grateful for that space. So
if you know anybody that wants puzzles?
Oh, yeah.
Should we give away a lot?
Oh, there's so many
Oh,
puzzles in that.
there's boxes, puzzles. We'll work on that. So similar to the field rental policy, we wanted to put together a policy that's very similar to our community room policy here at City Hall for the community center. And we do have some questions on the policy. We kind of go through it, and if you have any changes you'd like to see as we go through it. First is the name, what you want to call the room that people rent. We often refer to this room as community room, but it's also called Bingham Canyon, but everybody just calls it community room.
I'm just shoot off the cuff. It's something the Lauren Palmer something.
I thought Councilmember Anderson had an excellent suggestion.
Oh, do say.
So like Heritage Hall or Heritage Center or something like that.
Because Heritage close to
So it's
I'm
the
staying
Heritage.
I can't keep track of the names of these rooms.
These are named after geographic locations in the hills, which I discovered when I was out and saw White Hollow, and I'm like, oh, it's a real place.
Yeah.
The White Hollow. So, I would just strongly suggest not somebody's name.
Yes.
That ends up being. It's usually not
Who knows what
touchy
you're
when you
gonna
do
do
it.
later
It's
on.
touchy when you do it years later, and somebody goes, "Hey, did you know that?"
Yeah,
Oh, that's true.
Chapel
That
Elementary.
totally
Do
explains.
not name it after me then.
Like Mike Levitt.
Anyways,
Does it
let's
go
not
to the
name, let's
museum?
keep going here.
What?
I like Heritage.
I like Heritage Hall. What about the oak? Like, is it two oak trees?
The black locust.
Black locust. Something,
They're just down the road.
or the Lions Room, or I don't know, something.
Heritage is good, it's the
tribute.
old city hall, that's where
Yeah.
it was the first home, it's that.
Why do we call it Old City Hall?
That's what it's gonna be called anyway.
That's like the Delta Center. It'll always be the Delta Center here.
So the Heritage
It'd be
Room.
the Heritage Room at the
I'm
old
not
city hall.
attached to it, but it was just.
I like the HH. That's a good,
Herriman Heritage Room.
yeah,
Heritage Hall.
Heritage Hall.
Isn't there building at BYU Heritage Hall?
Well, those are
They're dorms.
Heritage is our dorms.
Right, that's what I'm.
It was Helaman Hall.
There's also Helaman and Heritage.
Yeah, there's New Heritage. Okay.
The new Heritage took where the old Deseret
Okay.
Towers were.
See, that's what, now you're talking me off of Heritage now. I don't know.
What is this?
Do you have to decide like right now?
This is
Or-
black.
No,
something.
but we're gonna start renting it, so I'd like.
So we already used Fort Herriman, that's this room.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a little bit.
Okay,
Let's
we'll
go
keep
through the rest of it.
Yeah, that's a lot of pressure right now. I knew this was
So-
coming tonight, but still.
There is a change in the building rental hours from how we typically rent things out here at City Hall. We do not rent this building during regular city business hours. So I extended the hours there from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. instead of 5:30 to 10 p.m.
Okay.
So people can host, daytime meetings or events or activities there. And then we do have these blackout dates. These are consistent with the other rental policies in the city.
Are we still doing single day rentals, or can we do half day rentals over there?
We're gonna talk about that.
When do you, never mind, I'll do it later.
What? Just-
Because I know we want to rent it, right?
Yes. Well, I think you wanna rent it.
Right, 100% we want to rent it, so, but I guess I also would like to see some openings during the day for the seniors
Oh, we will.
to just even have
Just hang
open
out?
days?
Yeah.
Okay.
As we establish programming, we'll come back with some of
Okay.
those, yeah.
Okay.
We block out for the stuff we do, we'll
Yeah.
block it out.
But even if it was one, I mean, because a lot of the seniors, like, we'd love to come one day a week, even if, like, I don't think the city, I think we get caught up in the city has to do.
Yeah, just for them to
Just to be
mingle
there,
and be
yeah, just say
social,
it's
do
open to
puzzles or
Have some
something.
tables
up and
Yeah, just,
card
Yeah.
games.
it's
or
a
something.
senior day and they just come,
Yeah.
and again, they
That's
do a
not a problem.
potluck.
They self-program.
So those days, maybe it's open after 5:30 to rent, but, so I don't know if we pick a day, that we
Yeah.
reserve it, we put it aside for them.
You can do that if you'd like.
Do they clean up after themselves?
I think they would need to, I think that would be,
They wouldn't move tables or chairs, we just leave some out, probably, right? Or what
but I
would
think
you
they
do
need to, I mean,
We can figure out how to program it. If
It
you
would-
wanna do a specific day, that's,
It would still be
Wednesdays or something.
programmed by us. We're not just gonna open up a building. I think that would be a mess. But it would be some sort of light programming, and that's what I'm hearing. When I said, we'll just come up with something to block it out for that day.
I don't want to add a lot of staff, I'm sensitive to that too, we're always sensitive to that, and any cost, I don't want any cost, I just want something easy to where they can show up. And I mean, maybe Teddy's there to walk, and then,
okay, let me do
Or
this.
you and your
Let
orange
me,
shirt.
oh,
let me talk to our event staff
I almost bought a
and
new
see
one.
if they think they have a day that's better than others for that type of activity, since they've been building those programs up.
okay,
And then we'll bring that back when we bring the policy back for adoption.
Okay.
Does that sound agreeable?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Wendy, the way I read this memo is that kind of the same thing as the field stuff is, this is more for maybe like organized groups or somebody wanting to come in and rent it out for a specific purpose or whatever. It's not necessarily a community type of thing that we're involved in. This is, I have a neighbor that is a writer and she has a writing group
Yeah.
and she's always looking to, rent a room, so if they want to have their meeting there and they all pitch in $10 to rent it sort of thing for the
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah,
Is that more kind of what
yeah, I think that's a great
this is geared
example of
towards?
what this would be used for.
Somebody's
It's, I
50th
wouldn't,
anniversary party.
I wouldn't recommend, obviously, to just, it's a free-for-all for everybody, right? Like, we need to have some structure
100%.
Yep.
in how we do it, but. Okay, so thoughts on the dates, times, blackout dates?
I would just say maybe track how many people are asking for the blackout dates the first year and then see if you have employees who want to work. I don't want to make anyone work, but if someone wanted to, I don't know how you work that out.
The
but-
only thing, unless, if something happened, that's when an employee would be called out. Like their key card didn't work, or they forgot to come get a key card, or the power is,
There's not an employee
There's not gonna be
there
an employee
during-
there.
Okay.
'Cause
So
I
it's
could-
not
all the
a big
holidays are tough
ask.
because you have to pay time on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see people wanting to use that space during like Thanksgiving and Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Memorial Day would be tough because we're next door, but.
Well, we talked about that downstairs though too, again, you're just the employee, you're bringing an employee into the.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it for this building, but for that one. I
If
could
somebody's
see-
You're still
willing
bringing
to
an employee.
pay for the employee,
You're still bringing an
The
employee.
issue is we're asking an employee to come in over a holiday during Thanksgiving, because this group's having a family event, so we're gonna pull one of our employees away from a family event, so they can't, it's just,
And that's why I wanna go off of Sunday, I'd like to stay away from Sundays too, honestly.
I'm concerned about Sundays, but I know there's not a parking issue, but there could be if somebody else gets that building for a church.
And again, I think it's not a religious thing for me, I think
Okay.
our employees deserve a day that they don't need to worry about getting. I think it should be Monday through Saturday.
I agree.
Okay.
And maybe just keep track of that too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you have a lot of people who are like, then like maybe we discuss it again in a year.
Okay, I think that's a great idea. This goes back to your question, Councilman Hodges. One reservation per day is just easy.
Yeah, well, for
Right?
damage and
Clean
for
up,
security
yeah.
and cleanup, yeah.
And oftentimes when you have somebody making a reservation for a space like this, they're going to want setup time and takedown time, and it just, sometimes that runs over and runs long, and then the next party's trying to get in, and so it makes it easier for staff
I agree.
to do it that way. But we will do whatever the council,
So it's a daily rental, they're doing a
Yeah.
daily rental.
And I was,
and they
I
don't
was-
have to, it is by hour, but we're only gonna do one reservation a day. So they could rent 4 hours or a full day,
Oh, okay.
but just.
it's a
one.
4-hour minimum, right?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so, yeah, I remember right.
So The only thing I was concerned about is if like the seniors wanted in the morning and then afternoon, so
I think
having that
that's
set
different.
part, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, you're fine, yep, okay.
Because do you have an employee who comes and checks at the end of the reservation to see about damages?
Yeah.
And so it'd be easy, just as easy to check at the end of the day or
Yeah.
something instead of twice in one day.
Because we've had issues downstairs.
Yeah. Okay, great. Let's keep going, John. We have all the things that, there's no glitter, I'm sorry. No glitter.
That is the best ever. I love that. Our rule. Let's just get rid of, can we just do that period across the board?
There's not supposed to have glitter downstairs either, but.
How
But-
about
Look at
anywhere?
the- Look at the carpet, it's just got glitter everywhere, you can't get rid of it.
Okay, so let's go to the
Can't go to
fee
Hobby Lobby, I
schedule,
can't walk in.
John.
Come to my house.
And Trevor did a great job on this.
Good job, Trev.
He's our fee schedule guru.
These two
Too
are.
many to feed.
You see people are
This is what staff is recommending for the fees that are being charged, and Trevor, you can speak to how you got to those charges, but
Yeah, like with most of this, really similar methodologically to how we set up the community room. We looked at personnel, operating costs, and some of the capital and building replacement, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's lower than what we're showing over here. But yeah, those are the main components of putting it together.
So it's 80 per hour, so you'd be the 360
Weekday.
weekday.
And then from the other information you included, it looked like this was just the right amount to cover costs, right?
Yes,
And so, which is great.
yeah.
I think we're not making money off of it, we're not losing money off of it.
And it's still gonna be one of the more affordable places to
Yeah.
rent everything.
Yeah, if you look at an event center, and then you can bring in your own catering, your own, you know, you're not
Yeah.
required to use their catering or our catering.
Is there a retainer or a hold on a credit card for damages or release, that kind of stuff, or is that?
it's in that
Oh,
deposit.
in the deposit, okay.
Vic,
I think we talked about getting rid of the key deposit though, didn't we? Did I make that up? I made that up, okay.
That was one of your dreams you had.
Maybe, it's possible.
You dream
it's just
about
trying to
that.
get them to give, because it's, is this still is this a physical key for the
It's
building?
a key card.
Key card, okay, that's good.
That's easy to deprogram. I like it.
Okay.
Yep.
And if we wanted to use it for a city meeting, you just book it and
Yeah.
it's
All
just
of-
like the community room.
All of the reservations for this space will go through the events department, just because they are planning, like senior program events and things over there. So you just go through Lauren and
Well, that's-
her team.
Have a name for it yet? Is it kind of percolated as we've talked?
Or you can think about it and let me know. Give me some ideas and I'll bring it to the next.
How about
I don't mind
Herriman?
heritage, I like heritage, but I want Heritage Hall, because that would take me, the Heritage Room.
The Heritage Room at the Herriman
The Heritage Room
Community
at Old
Center.
City Hall.
You want it to be Old City Hall? We can, I don't,
The old community.
you tell me.
The old,
Old community room.
the old new, the new old community room.
Our old conferences room with the conference room with the blue room and the red room.
Yeah, because of the furniture.
I like heritage, because I like heritage. I mean, there's a neighborhood nearby,
Yeah.
the heritage
Like I
room.
said, it speaks to the old town.
Yep.
and I thought that idea too.
I just came up with my AI search.
I love it.
Or the,
Heritage room.
Take
Okay.
credit, don't give credit. Yeah,
Let's do it.
So the building's still going to be
Herriman Community
Herriman
Center.
Community Center? is
So
that
the
what we're
heritage
calling
room
it?
at the Herriman Community Center. Boom.
Okay.
We put
rolled off.
You don't have to say all of that, then we get to do this.
Every time you rent it.
Jared's back there going, let's
Say it.
find a cool acronym, and then we'll back into the.
HCC, it's the HCC.
Yeah, that's true,
But
yeah.
that's our,
The shops and commons.
If you added
Like our town days, like our Fort Herriman
Okay,
town days.
we good? Is that all you need from us on that?
if you add an extra letter or add, you can turn.
Okay, we'll go to our final item tonight, 2.6, the CIP decision framework. Did any of you take the CIP quiz that our social media team put out? That was on there.
Give us the acronym.
That was one of the acronym tests.
What's a social media?
Okay, Trevor.
It was a good post.
It was cool.
Is it on the
It was to see
website?
what acronyms people knew.
Yes, I almost got all of them right.
I sent it to my works and they had an
there's-
idea.
Oh, you want this?
Yes, please.
I did not
I
saw
thought,
it.
I thought the UTA guys stole it. Okay. Justin gave me 2 minutes to talk through my part of this.
You said that's how long it takes.
Challenge accepted. What criteria would council like staff to consider in preparation of CIP recommendation? There's been feedback from the council that we incorporate at the end of the process. This is your opportunity, really your opportunity, to let us know now as we begin rolling into the process what you'd like us to consider as far as your priorities, your preferences, strategic direction and timing. I've got some examples here of strategic priorities or ways you might be leaning. Really, when we're preparing the CIP, we consider funding constraints, we're considering bandwidth constraints, legal obligations, the things that are hard constraints against what we plan. But sometimes when we score projects, we come to a tie. We'd like to be able to lean back on what you're sharing with us now and say, oh, given that these two basically match up, we'll go with this one here because it's a repair and replace, and that's kind of where council was leaning when we initiated this process. So, 2 minutes.
I'm gonna blame this on the new people, because we have new people, so probably you can explain to them what the current framework
Yeah,
is. Not
please.
because I need to be told again what it is, but maybe you start there with what the framework is you're currently bringing it through.
Yeah.
That, then we can weigh in on what we would think the next step would be.
So I think Trevor hit it. It's a lot of staff driven. We're looking at what's required,
Yeah, the specific
agreements. Their engineering had a specific formula when I got here, but we never seemed to actually use it for anything.
So there's grading criteria
Yeah.
that all of the departments go through when they put projects in.
And it comes up with we used to come up with an actual number. I don't know if it's still
Right.
coming to a number. What are that criteria specifically? It's 1 through 5 that you're rating them on, depending on.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So it's a very I would say it's very kind of engineering and focused on the hard constraints. Here's this or that. This is more of an opportunity, again, for council to give us some guidance, some guiding principles for us to consider as we're ranking them. The way I put it is often staff has a 1 + 1 = 2, right? That's the answer. And council looks at it and says, yeah, 1 + 1 = 2 there, but it doesn't feel right. Or maybe that 2, but I'd rather do the 1.5 over here, not the 2. And so we're just looking for something to help us understand, get your perspective earlier, so when we bring you the plan, it's already had some filter of your priority on it, not just, here's what we think you should do.
I can give you the criteria that we used to use. Number 1 is safety. Does the project mitigate a public safety risk? Number 2, system need. How essential is the project to the overall system? 3, external funding. How much funding is coming from outside the city to help fund the project? 4, preservation. Does the project preserve existing infrastructure, kind of the repair and replace idea? And then number 5, community enhancement. Does this project provide a community enhancement? And then they each have a weighted score to, apply to the project.
Do we have any weight on projects that have been on the list longer?
Not necessarily, no.
Now if we're trying to plan years out, they should be moving through. I think probably when this originally came up, what I was told, it was a spreadsheet that they would look at it, they'd pick, and then the comments I heard back was that the next year, the spreadsheet would be different, and sometimes projects that were on last time weren't on, they don't know whatever happened to them, so we tried to systematize it a little bit more. But some projects will sit out in the out years simply because there's no funding for it.
Sure.
And we just don't know how to bring it forward. We need to do something with it, but the cost is so high, it just sits there.
Sorry, my
Unless
back
they
is
think it's a
killing me, I
safety
can't
issue.
sit in.
I think for me, like, I love the, first priority, I mean, that's super important, but also, I think we have to consider, what are we contractually obligated to do? Like, we have to do this, and if we don't, then.
I think that's in our new criteria.
Right, so that's number one, and that doesn't go through the rating process.
Yeah, because it's like, hey.
It's a yes or
we-
no
Yeah, it's
criteria
like, this is at the
regardless,
top of the
so-
list, and like, are you gonna do it or not?
Yeah,
So, yeah.
so that was already on the top, it doesn't
Okay.
go through the rating process right now.
Trevor, you only took 1 minute, 20 seconds, by the way.
So yes, my question is, I'm super happy with how you've organized it the last few years compared to where it was, for the reasons you mentioned. It's hard to answer those questions without context. Can you guys kind of tell us what you're looking for?
So really, it's not like on individual projects, but what, if you went back to those sample questions, are those, is there a question you would like us to ask? Not about a specific project, but just about projects that we would filter it through? And say, so, is repair and replace more important to you, or building new things? And then if we came down to two projects that were similar, but they checked either side of that, one was new, one was repair and replace, and we knew council's preference, we would move the one up.
I don't know, it's so hard for me to answer, going back, just experience with going through this and several iterations. Is repair and replace more important than new capacity? Depends. What are we comparing? Which projects? I don't know how to answer that.
Do we have a lot of competing projects like that? A lot of the score
I guess that's kind of where I lean on you guys.
There's always more to do than we have money. And so we're just trying to find a way to get the priorities and concepts of council earlier into the process without having to go through every project with you. So when we bring them back, at least that initial kind of high level's already been done. And then when you're moving things, you're not thinking, well, but this, we want you to focus on citywide things, not localized. Again, that is a hard thing to ask, but if you have two things that cost the same, and you told us that, and we moved one up, and then when you got it again, you say, yeah, but you would still have the opportunity to move it, but this would just be kind of, in general, you would think, yeah, we're trying to do citywide stuff, things that benefit more than something else.
So I think, and Jared, you teed this up really nicely where you said it depends, and I agree with you. I think what we're after is help answer that next question, depends on what.
Okay, so I was just thinking through a few examples. So if it's roads, we pretty much know what's required, what we've contractually obligated to do. This question to me would come down towards, okay, we have a maintenance schedule, we have a lot more roads into that maintenance schedule now. We're on a 7 and 10 year, right, slurry and chip seal. We've got too many lane miles now to stay on that schedule. Do we divert funds we have geared for, say, new roads, whatever that might be, to that, or do we change that schedule and refer, well, what's the new road that we would be choosing instead? I don't know that matches up, so I can't think of a new road where that would be the case, because the developer would be involved in there and where I can see a repair and replace versus new capacity, and same thing as water. Right, repair and replace, we don't have the choice, because if the water, that line breaks, you don't have a choice. And new capacity, same thing, new construction, there's always a different element to that with developers. But repair or replace a playground versus putting in a new one. We repair or replace splash pad versus putting in a new park that we've been waiting for many years. I think those types of things, right? So like the old splash pads for me, we've had this conversation, we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair and replace these old splash pads. Great to be a segment of that localized population, but we have an entire area, say Jackson Park, new area, 0 parks within, I don't know how many miles radius, right? That they've got nothing, but we're putting $500,000 into repair and replacing. I think that sort of decision maybe fits that scenario where it's council, what do you think about something like that? That's just something that comes to mind. I don't know how you systematize this sort of thing, because it's just so subjective, and it really does depend on the specific issue.
Yeah, and thank you for that, because I think that this is kind of our attempt to get somewhere between a full-on formula and just by the seat of our pants. There is some gut feel to this, there is a little bit of squish, and so giving us anything at the outset to come back with and say, hey, based on what we talked about, this is why we put this project in as opposed to this other one. And this is not by any means us kind of dictating back, this is why, you said this one time, so we're putting it in and that's it. For one, that's not our role, that's yours. Ultimately, we bring the recommendation back. This is just in hopes that the recommendation is better fit to some of those more subjective pieces. And then two, we're hoping that this is not the only time we talk through kind of the direction piece of this. We come back again and again, because in an earlier slide it was strategic direction and timing. Maybe there's a season of, hey, our backlog is getting big, we need to work maintenance, we need to work repair and replace, whereas, okay, we've caught up on that. I don't know that there's a backlog that exists, that's just theoretical backlog. But
where my brain goes is having kind of the framework, the old one, the new one, and that seems to be working. It's when you come to a point where you're not sure and you need us to weigh in. I don't know that there's a formula we can give you without us talking, because it does depend. If it's coming down to, look, we ran it through these, we're not quite, we have money for this, or we have this much money and there's these 10 projects that we think fit the criteria, but we can't do all of them, we'd like council to weigh in on them.
Let me put a different perspective. I think you're right too. I look at your splash pad example. I think that probably will be the exception, honestly, because sitting on this recreation board, I look at the county, what the county's dealing with. I mean, there's a $100 million bond right now, and $40 million is going towards deferred maintenance. I don't want to get in that boat where we're dealing with deferred maintenance. So I think we have to, I mean, to me, we're erring. I think our default should be repair and replace. Because again, and Carlos did make a good point that adding a new rec center is going to add costs. It's going to add operating costs. It's going to add. Yep. So
it's
great, they're getting it. But so I think adding more capacity. We talked about that. We're going to, every time we add something, we're adding staff. We're adding. So I think we are still going to be adding stuff, but I think the priority moving forward is going to be repair and replace, and then that's where we'll come in and say like, well, yeah, but this new capacity still needs to rise to the top, like something like Jackson Park will rise to the top, right? But that doesn't mean we're putting off maintenance on playgrounds. So I think that's a default, but again, the new projects will still rise there, right? They're still going to be prioritized up there too, so.
And I think there's something to be said about opportunity too. When we have access to grant money, or we have a partner that wants to come in and do a project, I think that has to be taken into consideration too.
it's where the external funding piece comes into the scoring that we do, but it is a good point that we weigh that more heavily in multiple dimensions, not just when we score the projects as a committee.
And that's a moving target too, because like things pop up and it's like, hey, we have this opportunity for,
Congressman Owens is a
that's
great
46
example,
on the
right?
list, but we're getting a 10-to-1, and that's a moving target that's going to be reevaluated all the time.
I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but it was like, here's 3 projects we can do with our money, or here's 15 that we could do with the same money. how do you wanna knock those 15? A lot of them are repair and replace, and some of those bigger ones that take more funds are small, are good projects, but there's less quantity of them, so.
So I'm kind of stuck on the repair and replace, because I think for infrastructure, like Lauren said, that's the default. Like, you can't ignore your roads, you can't ignore your water, you can't ignore
Just
the
might be the
building.
scheduling, right?
Right, that sort of thing.
That's what it
But
is.
when it crosses over into, and they're important to me as well, but to what I consider more of the fun stuff, I mean, parks are definitely important, but I keep going back to the splash pad and just the $500,000 number to repair it. When we look at some of those types of things to repair and replace, we need to add to the criteria.
Is it benefiting
Are we
like
just
the whole
repairing to
city
replace what's
or?
existing there? Is what is it going to cost to continue to repair and replace or operate it versus doing something different?
No, 100% agree, and I think that's why I said, I think that'll come to us, right? That will then come to us and say, like, this does show repair and replace, is that more valuable at this point? That's when we'll step in.
I just
and
don't want to
decision.
be that, yep, we're just gonna automatically, the council said repair and replace, so we're gonna repair and replace the splash pad and the swing set.
And I don't take that as-
No, so this was hoped to guide us before, so earlier in the budget process, so then I think what we've determined to do now is because we're doing a biennial budget, so for 2 years, in the middle of it, when we're not doing the full budget, we would be focused on the capital discussion for that next budget, because then we're not in the middle of trying to do the budget. We're talking about, here's what we think it's gonna look like. So when we get to the budget, when you're seeing it, you've already had your fingers on it quite a bit. It's not brand new. It may not be exactly what we've talked about because opportunities, things change. We're just trying to figure out how to get you, as the ultimate policy makers and holders of the purse strings, how to get you involved a little earlier so that we're not trying to rush it. And I think we've done, Kyle and Trevor, they've done a great job of bringing stuff earlier. But we also find ourselves pinched at the end because it's like, oh, yeah, we gotta get this in and this, because we're a growing city, which means our budget keeps getting more complex. And we're just trying to figure out how we can engage with the council earlier on, because capital, I think we did like the last, you talked about it, but you probably, and I appreciate that you trust us, but it would feel better if you had a longer chance to look at it and really maybe talk amongst yourselves as, well, should we do that one or that? Because of it's depends that we don't know. So
It sounds like this is, like it's more of a, I hate to put it this way, but here's your required courses. Here's the electives. Council, which of the electives are more important to you, sort of thing.
It's actually a good.
So I think what I'm taking out of this, maybe we won't do a formal, we'll work on it and we'll just try, we'll try and bring it back in the middle with what we think. And you'll have more time as you look through it. If you go, Nathan, you're a bonehead, you missed this, then tell me so we know that I don't do that again. But I think hopefully
You're definitely on the right.
We're kind of in the
I can't tell you
middle.
how impressed I am and happy with what you've been doing.
it is, I mean, I look at the size of our capital improvement plan, the things we're spending money on, and a lot of them are developer driven. So we are really focus on, there's financial capacity, there's also staff time capacity.
Right.
That we're looking at, and we'll be showing you some projects we'd love to do. Gina Road is a great example. We kind of threw that in there because we had money. We really didn't have the staff time, so Bryce is pulled very thin on that one right now. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's just also taking a little longer, is we just don't have somebody to run that project maybe the way it needed to be done.
That's the
Justify that.
It's just time,
just
projects that are just so
time-consuming.
And honestly, I think from council's side, once you said, like, I think we need to understand that from you guys too, because we don't know that, right? I
So,
don't think we need.
I think we're gonna start giving a score on those when you look at it, and when we bring it back in that midterm, if you say, well, can we do this one? You'll see, here's the dollar, we need to money, but this is a really staff-heavy one. You can't get rid of like 2 staff light ones and it won't work, right? We'll end up not doing a good job on it. people are just
There's no
resting.
on that.
So that's what we're talking internally, is how to come up with that scoring. So that really wasn't part of this, but I think we're excited. We'll come back, you'll see these scores, and then we can get some feedback then if you like it, don't like it. Trevor's, I think, gonna meet with the capital committee, which is Justin and Bryce, so some of you are already in here. They'll go through and then we'll bring it back.
Or Herriman, whatever they call it.
But isn't this also so that you have some direction before you put a ton of staff time in to present options?
It's helpful to know if there are things that are really, really important to the council.
So that you don't waste your time doing a lot of research and background for something that's a low priority for the council.
And
So-
in some ways, it might be, in some ways, it's easier to maybe allow us to categorize it better for you to be able to visualize and see the differences. Or we might even be able to say, okay, we have $2 million that we can spend. The council has a high priority on repair and maintenance, so maybe let's try and put 40% of the funds towards those repair and replace projects and then split up the others. It just gives us a little better idea of what your priorities are so that we can categorize them better, or maybe show you things that, instead of a list of 100 things, we're showing you a list of 10 things to be able to choose from that we know are priorities.
I like that, actually.
I'm sure you spend a lot of time anticipating questions and gathering information, right? And so if you can do that on a smaller pool, I mean, I get
It's a
that.
kickback.
I will say, everything is becoming far more expensive than it used to be. So, when we're talking about, well, how far does this go? It's $1 million doesn't buy a whole lot anymore, which is crazy, but it.
But Nathan, I will say too, sitting there with Senator Fillmore today too, right, it was eye-opening for me to understand, like, we didn't have a big infrastructure ask, right, from him. Like, I think we're at this verge as a city right now, we're getting a lot of big projects done that the city's been waiting for years, right? Your Junipers, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we're getting wrapped up right now with Gina. It's like, after that, like, it's weird that I don't know what the next big project, I mean, I know they're out there, but there's been so much.
We're starting to get to 134, rebuilding 134 and expanding.
Sustainability.
Well, I think so too, is like, you talk about, we're an aging city now. So like our next big project might not be this sexy new thing. It might be some nasty water project, right? That it's like, well, we don't need the infrastructure to go build this, but and we need the infrastructure money to repair all of this stuff. And we start looking a little bit more like Salt Lake City instead of.
And it's kind of where I'm going, I think we're gonna have fewer projects, right? I think we're gonna have probably some bigger ones, but probably fewer, because we're just knocking some of these, because of what we put in place, because we've been so disciplined with our CIP. Like, we're knocking out some big stuff right now that residents are gonna see a difference soon when all the projects we're finishing right now. That's hats off to everybody in this room that's put the CIP in place, and
It's interesting because we're in the middle of the Parks Master Plan right now, it'll be coming to you in the next couple of months. But just seeing how few parks we have left to build. How few trails we have left to install. Like, it's pretty.
we're in change.
For when I started 10 years ago, it's like, wow,
We're gonna go to a different phase in the city.
yeah.
Yep.
That's where it naturally is gonna go to the repair, replace, sustain the level of service.
And we're gonna have the big projects, Public Works Building, PD, I mean,
We do have those two
Oh,
items
those
that are
two.
kind of weighing, we'll have to figure out what to do public works wise. They need a bathroom.
Yep.
They need a bathroom up there, that floors me. We are
That was
out
all
of space
open
for
to you,
PD, and I think one of the things that's probably more concerning than the space with PD is the fact that we don't have a true evidence area. We don't have some of these things that I wish the council had talked about when they were deciding to come, because they could have maybe held some of that initial increment back to, or the tax to say, hey, we gotta build a facility to deal with this, but we can deal with it now, and I think the original plan to kind of stuff it over on that side didn't make a lot of sense, but we're working through that, and I know we saw the original plan for the animal shelter was $6 million. We think we're gonna do it for about 1.2.
That's great.
And it'll buy us 25 years. At some point, it will be too small, but I figure in 25 years, I might still be a resident, and we'll deal with it. Somebody will deal with it.
When do you expect to bring
We're in
those
this meeting now.
items as far as those? I know you're working, but the reason why I asked, like, we
So I
talked about
think
it
that's actually
for
something
like
we
a
should
year
talk
and a half.
at the retreat is some time
Yeah.
and really figure out, because those are
Beautiful.
two huge items funding wise. They're two different funding sources that would be tapped.
Yeah.
So from a math perspective, they're two different sources. There is a political side to that you all need to weigh in on and think about, so how you do it.
I just appreciate the long-range planning aspect, because things are not going to get cheaper, right? And so anything that we can do to balance repair and replace with like long-range planning, thinking ahead, will help us out in the long run. Like, I mean, we wish someone would have followed through with Gina Road 10 years ago, or like 20 years ago, or however long it was. Like,
Yeah.
so like we can do our best to think ahead and anticipate some of those kind of issues too.
I think you guys do like a really good job with that. Like, I don't have the reference point that, you know, Jared has or anybody, because I'm the newest, but, you know, to me, as it's presented, it makes sense, right? And that's what it should just like make sense, and there's so much nuance into each one of those decisions, but you're providing us the information as far as, hey, this is this, and this is that, and here's the pros and cons, and you guys have to make a decision. I feel like that I have the information to make the decision, so.
I'm gonna try to put it in perspective. Think about this discussion versus the discussion, budget discussions we were having in nearly every meeting for the first like year and a half, 2 years that you were here. Every single meeting, there was a crisis because we found out about something else we were obligated to do that was overlooked. Like, you have a handle on it now. So,
I don't think anything exists anymore.
We were doing so well.
There's PTSD.
And
I
prior
can
to
see
that,
Kyle like, no.
prior to that, I
meetings are
feel
terrible.
like it was always, so I'll put it in context of timing. It was always, something was coming up. There's this opportunity or that opportunity and this developer and that, like there was always just something that had to be done right now and this is how we got to wheel and deal it and think. Like
There's no
the
process.
shells were just moving around all the time. And we actually had things settled and somewhat predictable. So for this to be our problem, I'm good.
I think we got what we need.
I think so.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, thank you, everybody.
That brings us to the close of our meeting for this evening, so all I need is a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Motion by Matt,
I'm not giving you one.
second by Teddy, all in favor? Thank you, everybody.
I was waiting for Tara to say something.
Panoramas.
Yeah, you would have